When it comes to Chinese equities, what's your long-term play there?
We're still selective. We think it's something that investors need to own. It's the world's second largest economy, very deep liquid market. There's always going to be opportunities. But it's just about being more selective instead of just buying it at the index level and expecting that growth to necessarily come through. Nominal growth has come down quite dramatically. Nominal growth is going to drive earnings. And we're looking at a fairly weak nominal growth outlook there, especially relative to India and many other economies in the region.
When it comes to the policies or potential policies that have been announced over the course of this week, it's really clear that policymakers want to get ahead of this to some degree. What's been your reaction so far?
Yeah, it does appear there's a new urgency, both to arrest some of the sell-off that you've seen in markets, but as well, the start of the year data has been fairly weak, fairly disappointing. So a newfound urgency, I think, to stem some of the slowdown. But it's still too early in that we haven't seen any really comprehensive either stimulus package or really comprehensive plan to address the property sector. So from our perspective, it hasn't been enough to really, in our opinion, rejuvenate confidence and bring about either a newfound bull market or really reaccelerate growth.
So maybe not a newfound bull market. If we sort of look at it from the other end of the telescope, have stocks found a floor yet in China?
That we do think they have. I think all of the stimulus measures and policies that we've seen announced, in addition to just the fact that they are quite cheap, I think that it likely limits the downside. And so we're looking at particularly offshore China as somewhat range bound in the near term. We could see a pop based on short covering, based on reaction and improvement in sentiment to some of the measures that are announced, but see it largely range bound, particularly on the offshore side. But that said, do see it capped on the downside, limited downside, and if we see additional measures announced, then could absolutely see upside. So we do still see it somewhat asymmetric, but more likely range bound.
Do you have any concerns about the amount of debt being carried by Chinese companies?
Yes, but that's a long term. I mean, that's been a concern. I think when you look at the amount of overall debt, and second only to Japan, most of that is held in local governments. A lot of that is held in SOEs. I think when you actually look at private corporates, the amount of debt, overall leverage has actually been coming down over the last couple of years. So I think on private corporates, particularly listed corporates, not that much of a problem. The problem is fairly concentrated, property, local governments, et cetera. That said, though, at the overall macro level, yeah, it is absolutely a concern, but more of a long-term growth concern.